All right. We're good for a bit now. Uh. Yeah, might as well.
A jackknife.
Oh, wait.
The soldiers have such admiration for General Washington. No one else could have held the army together under such hopeless conditions.
I think there may be some in Congress who fear he's too popular. They don't want to trade an English king for an American king. Hello, General Washington. We meet again.
We're always honored to have the opportunity to speak with the Commander-in-Chief of the Continental Army.
Sarah, James, it's good to see you both.
We have heard that there have been great improvements in the morale and professionalism of the troops.
Yes, there were many times when I feared the army would surely disintegrate. But now the soldiers are confident and disciplined.
Can you tell us more?
I'd be happy to tell you all about it. First, however, I must complete a report to Congress. Unfortunately, I left my portfolio somewhere in the camp. You know, a packet of my important papers.
We could look around and bring it back to you.
Where'd you
I
leave
must
it?
complete a report to Congress. Unfortunately, I left my portfolio somewhere in the camp.
We could look around.
Okay, somewhere in the camp. But also, I still need to find a thimble.
With so many sick soldiers,
Oh.
temporary hospitals were set up all over the area.
Yes. Barns, homes, and churches were all used
Hi,
as makeshift
Keatson.
hospitals.
Welcome back. Yeah, I didn't want, like, some of it to get cut off because after a certain point of time streaming, YouTube will just take off whatever is past that. So, new one.
A knapsack. Very useful for carrying things on a journey.
A barn couldn't make for a very sanitary hospital.
Especially with the shortage of supplies and medical staff.
Let's look around here and get back. I don't want you to become ill, James.
There's no thimble in here. Didn't you say thimble? Pretty sure. I'm betting somebody actually has it. Said he left it.
I must
Yeah,
find my knapsack.
I know you need this.
Thank
so.
you. This knapsack contains medicine I made from the
So what's
silk
up?
of
How you
corn.
doing?
Corn has many uses, you know. Would you return the portfolio I just set down to General Washington?
Yep.
He left it here in camp.
That's
It's full
good.
of important papers, and he must be missing it.
Who helped improve the morale and discipline of the Continental Army?
Morale was low because the soldiers were cold and hungry.
No.
We Oneidas walked hundreds of miles to bring corn to these soldiers when they were starving.
What led to the improvements in the morale and discipline of the Continental Army?
I don't concern myself with military matters. My concern is that the men be fed. Most of the Oneidas left after the corn was delivered. I stayed behind to teach the soldiers how to prepare the corn, but I was too busy to notice much else around me.
When did the improvements to the morale and discipline of the Continental Army occur?
Yes, there does seem to be an improved spirit in the soldiers.
When?
The
Yes.
arrival of this year's spring brought schools of shad to the river, and with it a new confidence to the soldiers.
Okay.
Where was the Continental Army when it improved in morale and discipline?
The Oneidas have lived and farmed on land north of here for many hundreds of years.
Hmm.
This place is called Valley Forge. It lies just east of where Valley Creek and the Schuylkill River join together in Pennsylvania.
Eh.
Why was it so important that the morale and discipline of the Continental Army be improved?
When the Americans leave, I will begin my journey home. The Oneidas have sided with the Americans. Congress has promised to protect us. This new discipline makes an American victory likely.
Nah, probably not, but yeah.
It's
Oh,
good to see.
wait, I need to... Where'd you put it? Oh.
A portfolio containing what looks like rather important papers.
Still don't know where that thimble is. I'll figure it out.
I must complete a report to Congress. Thank you. I'll get that paperwork finished and off to Congress right away.
Who helped improve the morale and discipline of the Continental Army?
The soldiers were discouraged because of lack of provisions, but I do not wish to throw blame upon any person. My men were nearly naked and starved. I wrote to Congress warning them that unless supplies arrived, the army would dissolve. When General Nathaniel Greene accepted the post of Quartermaster General, supplies finally began to flow regularly into camp, which helped morale.
What led to the improvements in the morale and discipline of the Continental Army?
The soldiers were starving because Congress let the Army's supply system fail. In the rest of America, people were feasting. The arrival of a Prussian officer to help with training turned this army into a unified fighting force. The arrival of the new Quartermaster General allowed supplies to flow regularly into camp. News of France forming an alliance with America further boosted morale.
When did the improvements to the morale and discipline of the Continental Army occur?
There were 3 months of hardship. Morale began to improve in February of this year, when von Steuben arrived.
Where was the Continental Army when it improved in morale and discipline?
Some have questioned why I selected such a cold location for our winter encampment. The area is easy to defend, since we have a good view of all attack routes. Plus, we're close enough to Philadelphia to keep an eye on the British.
Why was it so important that the morale and discipline of the Continental Army be improved?
Many soldiers died here, but I believe this place will be remembered for what was accomplished. The Continental Army will leave this winter encampment as a well-equipped, well-trained military force. We're much better prepared to stand up to the British.
Thimble, thimble, thimble. Who has a thimble? Because I really want to be able to do all of them. Hold on. I'm gonna go back. Maybe she gives me a clue. Where was she? Yeah.
I must mend these uniforms while we talk. I sent a young boy to buy a thimble, but he has not returned.
We'll go find the boy and bring back a thimble.
Child. It's the child that never has anything useful to say. How dare he? Ah, there you are.
Henri, are you still trying to convince General Washington to let you enlist?
It doesn't hurt to try, does it? I'm a bit older now, you know.
No,
Actually,
kid.
maybe you can help us out a bit. How long have you been here?
I came here when the soldiers first arrived, but it was just plain miserable. I returned recently and
Did you notice changes in the morale of the soldiers?
certainly, It makes me really sorry I can't join up now.
You're gonna
I
ask
can
for
tell you
bread.
what I've seen, but I have a problem. A lady sent me to buy a thimble and I left the money back in camp. The shopkeeper gave the thimble to me, but said I'd have to bring her the money right away.
Tell you what, we'll go get your money for you.
Magnifique!
Mm-hmm. That's fine. I think it's over. Yeah. I thought it was over here. Oh, I have
A
them.
lady sent me to buy a thimble and I left the
I
money back in
forgot.
camp. The shop.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
I will use
Yep.
this to pay
Yep.
for
Just
the thimble.
go.
When you go back to camp, could you take the thimble with you? The lady who wants it is
Nah.
mending uniforms. I set it down around here somewhere, close by.
I can't believe I'm gonna ask it.
Who helped improve the morale and discipline of the Continental Army?
I don't know his real name, but the whole camp has been jumping since he arrived. I'm hoping he'll teach me.
What led to the improvements in the morale and discipline of the Continental Army?
You know, a baking company has arrived at camp. It sure beats those fire cakes I ate the last time I visited. The new Quartermaster General has really improved the food situation. And you know what they say? An army marches on its stomach.
Fine.
It certainly hasn't hurt that food and equipment have finally been delivered.
When did the improvements to the morale and discipline of the Continental Army occur?
I came here during the winter, and the soldiers were in need of clothes, food, just about everything. On this visit, I can sure tell things have improved. The soldiers march like a real army.
Where was the Continental Army when it improved in morale and discipline?
I'm not sure. That happened between my visits.
Why was it so important that the morale and discipline of the Continental Army be improved?
It must have something to do with the new regulations. I am off now to see if I can be part of this new army.
Mm-hmm. This is where he put it.
Anyone who sews agrees that a thimble can prevent many pricked...
Yeah. Fine.
I must mend these uniforms.
Take it.
Thank you. I'll mend these uniforms as we talk.
Who helped improve the morale and discipline of the Continental Army?
A Prussian officer has brought discipline to the troops. Also, there's a new Quartermaster General. He's in charge of getting supplies to the army, you know.
Okay.
General von Steuben should be thanked for the new discipline in the troops. General Green should be thanked for the supplies that are finally arriving in camp. And, of course, General
Yes,
Washington
this
should
one.
be thanked for his skillful and inspiring leadership.
Thank you.
What led to the improvements in the morale and discipline of the Continental Army?
I was so busy tending to sick and dying soldiers during the first few months that I didn't notice what led to the changes. I have noticed the changes. The soldiers seem disciplined and are taking a new pride in themselves.
When did the improvements to the morale and discipline of the Continental Army occur?
It happened after a long, cold winter of snow and rain. I remember the date General von Steuben arrived,
Yes.
February 23rd, 1778. It was the day before my husband's birthday. Things seemed to improve steadily once he started training the troops. Supplies arrived soon thereafter, and at the end of April, news of an alliance with France arrived.
Mm-hmm.
Where was the Continental Army when it improved in morale and discipline?
I'll tell you, this place certainly has cold winters. Before we arrived here, we spent several days at a place called Gulf Mills.
Why was it so important that the morale and discipline of the Continental Army be improved?
Different states train their men using different commands, if they train them at all.
Hmm.
The new coordinated training means that all of the soldiers now know the same commands. This should eliminate some confusion on the battlefield.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I spoke to you, I spoke to you, I spoke to you. Spoke to you. Spoke to you. And you. You. Nothing here. I think that's everything. Now it's just time for pictures. Hmm. Mm. Mm-mm. Yeah. I think this
If
is
we
done.
need some help,
Okay. Nope. I already did
This
that.
is the notebook where you store the quotes that you save. Use the tabs at the side of the notebook to look at the answers to your different questions or to view your sketches.
Probably this one. Okay,
it
who...
looks like we have quite a few Who quotes. Let's see what else we need.
Mm-hmm.
All right. It looks like we have some what quotes now.
Mm-hmm.
I must say, we're doing fairly well in gathering when quotes.
Mm.
Well, I feel pretty good about the number of where quotes we have gathered. Let's see what else we need.
Fantastic. It looks like we've got quite a few why quotes.
Apparently it gives me that if I actually just happen to have the right one, I guess. Wait, I need 2 of the Ys. Yeah.
So,
Why was it so important that the morale and discipline of the Continental Army be improved?
I am writing a manual of drills and exercises based on the plan I devised. The troops now have the skills, equipment, and drive to defeat the British in open battle via a modern 18th century military organization.
We have saved that.
Wait, we have it saved.
This is the notebook where you store the quotes that you save. Use the tabs at the
Oh, I
side of the
actually have
notebook to look
several.
at the answers to
It looks like we have quite a few Who quotes. Let's see what else we need.
All right.
Okay,
I'm
so...
well.
Fantastic. It looks like we've got quite a few why quotes.
Okay. Let me double check that it...
This is the notebook where you store the...
Fantastic. It looks like we've got quite a
Okay,
few...
fantastic.
Well, I feel pretty good about the number of where quotes we have gathered.
Where?
Let's see what else we need. I must say, we're doing fairly well in gathering when quotes.
All right. It looks like we have some...
It looks like we have quite a few Who quotes. Let's see what...
Okay, all of it's pretty good, I think. Let's go.
Welcome back. I'm anxious to get all the details.
I cannot believe what terrible hardships the American army had to endure at Valley Forge.
But the amazing thing is that not only did they survive, they emerged even stronger and more disciplined.
General Washington has a true army now. I'm sure he is very thankful for the excellent help he has received from men like Lafayette and von Steuben. If I'm not mistaken, the British have underestimated the American skill and determination in fighting for their freedom. Let's get this story out. Head on over to the editing desk.
First, I
If
want to
there is a
see.
new assignment
Okay,
on
so
the
I have
book,
one
you
more
need
after
to finish
this.
working on your. Try to pick the best.
According to a confidence. That one probably. That's a nice one, but no. That is also a nice one. Mhm. Mm. Mhm. Mm. Mm. Mhm. Mhm. Probably. Mm. Mm. Probably.
Feedback appears below each of your quotes.
Um, I think that's good, yeah? Mm-hmm. All right, now we have to finish
Good
the
work.
paper.
If you think you have finished editing your story, go to the layout.
Yes.
This is the layout area, where you can make your newspaper front page look just the way you want before you print it out. Choose a sketch for your front page and type in a headline. Publish the paper once you are
The hardest part. Let's see. Blah, 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 blah. Um, and maybe? Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, this is the best I've got. Let's do this.
The harsh winter at Valley Forge could have spelled the end of the American army, but instead, they have emerged stronger and better trained. Let's get the story published so our readers can learn of this amazing turn of events. Your story about Valley Forge was very interesting and informative. I'll hurry a copy down to the harbor. A ship is leaving for France this evening. Hopefully, Ben will get this news by next month.
After all that has happened in the last few years, I feel that things are building to a conclusion. First, the amazing transformation of the American army at Valley Forge. And now,
the British decision to focus their military attention on the southern colonies. With Benedict Arnold becoming a traitor and now ravaging Virginia, not to mention Lord Cornwallis and his army heading towards Yorktown, Washington and his French allies have their hands full.
Rumors abound of the generals on each side moving their troops like pieces on a giant chessboard. And like chess, the decisive move may come at an unexpected time. I want you two packed and ready to leave at a moment's notice.
We'll be ready, Moses.
As reporters, you'll have to ask the right questions. If there is a new assignment on the bulletin board, I just received word that the American and French
We can actually
forces
finish
have achieved
this.
an astounding victory in Virginia. The British Army may be surrendering. Some are saying that this might mean the end of the war.
Oh, I pray that they're right. America has seen enough bloodshed in its fight for liberty.
Victory! This is the story to end all stories. We need to get to Virginia and get that scoop.
We need to find out all the details. Sarah, James, it's up to you. You need to determine the who, what, when, and where behind the British surrender. And of course, as always, be sure to get at least 2 quotes about why people think it happened. And if at all possible, try to make one of them the British General Cornwallis.
General Cornwallis, a British general.
Yes, James, it's called thorough reporting.
The questions you need to ask are in your notebook. Dig hard for the best possible information. That means accurate and insightful reporting. And stay out of trouble. Good luck, and Godspeed.
Yorktown is a small town on the edge of Chesapeake Bay. The British are encamped within the town.
And it looks like the Americans and French have the place surrounded. We need to find out what is going on.
Okay. First off,
The American camp. The French soldiers are camped nearby.
If what I'm hearing is true, I'm sure that all the misery of Valley Forge has been forgotten.
These are the outskirts of the American camp.
It still might be a good place to sniff out some information.
okay.
Excuse me, but don't we know you?
You sure look familiar. We may have crossed paths several times during this war. I was at Lexington, Trenton, Valley Forge.
That's right. You've been very helpful. Would you mind giving us your thoughts on the British surrender at Yorktown?
Certainly. I've been keeping notes in my journal for several months now. Problem is, I seem to have misplaced it. If you can find it, it would help refresh my memory as to all the details.
We'll definitely keep our eye out for it. Why are we out here? All the reporting action is back at the camp.
Just a moment, dear James. One must be thorough.
An axe, very useful for chopping firewood.
Okay.
Henri, what are you doing out here?
Tired of the army food and looking for something else to eat?
Always you make jokes about my stomach. But you are wrong again. I am missing my drum.
That's right. Henri is now a drummer in the French army. Can you give us any details about the rumored British surrender?
Not right now. I need to find my missing drum. All I have found so far is a white flag. The British have more need of it than I do.
All right, all right. We'll keep our eyes open for your instrument. Though I'm sure there's more peace and quiet around here with it missing.
I'll put this
A
in here.
knapsack. Very useful for carrying things on a journey.
I'm sure many of these soldiers are ready for a rest from fighting.
They've certainly earned it. I only hope that our country respects them for all they've done. A canteen. Very useful for carrying drinking water. A loaf of bread. Smells good. I can't believe it.
That though George Washington is so famous, he stays in a tent like his men? He's a great man, and the greatest men are always humble.
Your Excellency, it is an honor to meet you again.
Ah, yes,
Excellent.
Mr. Hiller and my dear Miss Phillips. I haven't seen you since Valley Forge. How is the newspaper business?
Very busy, of course, trying to keep the country up to date with the news from the war.
Well, there is much to write about here, and I would be happy to answer your questions once I locate something of importance.
And that
Perhaps
is?
you could let us know what you need. We are fairly good at finding things.
If
We
you would
should
like
be
to
by now.
help, I need a map of the area, including Yorktown and the York River. There is still a
Okay.
chance that the British fleet will try to break through, though my
Map,
prayer is that they
okay.
have given up and returned to New York.
We'll do our best, sir. That looks like an important tent. Maybe it belongs to Lafayette, or another of Washington's generals.
Well, perhaps it bears investigating then.
A journal. Many people keep journals of important events or experiences in their lives.
Looks like quite a nice place.
For a tent. A message on a scroll. Someone may be needing this.
We're just like, yoink.
I need to find my journal.
We found your journal!
Perfect. Now my children and grandchildren will be able to know what we went through to protect their freedom. Now, how can I help you with your story?
Who was involved at the Battle of Yorktown?
The bravest bunch of soldiers you ever saw. The Continental Army under General Washington and the French under General Rochambeau. We fought against Lord Cornwallis and his troops.
What happened during the Battle of Yorktown?
We surrounded the town. The French fleet kept the British from escaping. We attacked 2 of the British redoubts. With these taken, we could move our cannon close enough to continue heavy fire.
Oh no. Did I break a nail? No, I don't think so.
When did the British decide to surrender?
Not long ago. Just after I got off sentry duty.
Where did the fighting take place?
Near the York River, in Virginia.
Why do you think the British decided to surrender?
We were too much for them, that's why. The British had the York River behind them, and our American and French troops completely cut them off in front. They had nowhere to retreat.
All right then. You still need a drum.
What a pity that this war has caused so much destruction.
I guess that's what happens after you fire cannonballs back and forth for days on end. This is called a redoubt.
I know what a redoubt is. A protected fortification outside the main camp. It appears that the Americans overran this one.
Excuse me, sir. We're reporters from the Pennsylvania Gazette. Would you mind answering a few questions about the British surrender?
I suppose. I fought alongside the British, but I didn't volunteer to come here.
That's why we'd like to hear your point of view. You're from an area of Germany known as Hesse-Kassel, right?
Yes, they call us Hessians. My services were sold to King George by the Prince of Hesse-Kassel, but I received no pay at all.
Could you tell us a bit about the British surrender?
I could, but what I really need is money. I'll need it to start a new life once this war is over. But few coins I had saved were stolen. Could you help me?
We'd be happy to. And then maybe you could help us out by answering a few questions.
It's amazing that the soldiers could make it through these defenses.
They were inspired to give their all, so that all of us could be free.
Drum.
Regiments of soldiers respond to different signals beaten on a drum like this one.
Why is it over here?
This is the edge of the British fortifications.
I hope they understand that we're just reporters.
Hey, you two. Don't I know you? You're reporters, aren't you? Sarah
Yeah.
and what's your name?
James Hiller, famous reporter.
I guess not that famous yet, James.
Soon to be famous, after publishing this story on what could prove to be a disastrous defeat for the British.
Too true, mate. Too true. In fact, I've been looking around for a white flag.
A white flag?
A white flag shows I'm done fighting and want to surrender. Bring me one, and I'll let you into the British camp for some interviews.
It's a
Okay.
deal.
Yep. Kid has that.
It doesn't look like that British sentry will let us pass.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I am not in the mood for questions. Merci. Thank you. And don't forget to take the white flag I found. I have no use for it. Okay.
Who was involved at the Battle of Yorktown?
The French was there.
Great.
I know Generals Washington and Rochambeau were involved, but I'm not sure who was leading the British.
What happened during the Battle of Yorktown?
The British took quite a pounding. The French and the Americans surrounded and outnumbered the British.
When did the British decide to surrender?
I think it was right after lunch. Maybe?
Where did the fighting take place?
Most of the fighting involved cannons firing at both sides. I guess you would say that most of the fighting was right over my head.
Wow.
Why do you think the British decided to surrender?
It was my skills as a drummer. I struck terror into their hearts.
I am sure.
I'm sure all the heavy cannon fire took its toll on the British troops. They couldn't retreat. Being surrounded, they had no place to go. The British Navy failed to help Cornwallis's troops because they were turned back by the French Navy.
And
Waving
this-
a white flag is a signal you want to surrender.
Let's go take this that way. Huh.
A white flag shows I'm...
Nope. Alcohol.
Thanks
Or no, it's
much.
water. It's
You're
water.
free to go into the camp. First, I suppose you'll be wanting to chat with me a bit, right?
Who was involved at the Battle of Yorktown?
I'll tell you if I can think straight. I ain't had a square meal in days. Those rebels and our old enemies, the French, against His Majesty's regulars.
What happened during the Battle of Yorktown?
We traded cannon fire back and forth for days. Our ammunition ran low and casualties mounted. The French Navy blockaded the bay. We
Oh
traded
wait, that's the
When did the British decide to surrender?
when Lord Cornwallis had given up hope. Middle of October. Oh, what an awful day.
Where did the fighting take place?
Far from me home and family, that's for certain. I miss 'em terribly. Between the town of Yorktown and the American and French lines.
Why do you think the British decided to surrender?
Oh, I know all about that. It was because our Navy let us down. We're much better soldiers than those rebels. If we could have gotten some reinforcements and more munitions, we could have driven them out of Virginia.
well, he's on their side, so might as well take his vote.
That's the Nelson House. I was told that Lord Cornwallis made it his headquarters.
Looks like it took a beating. The British fortified the whole edge of Yorktown, but it couldn't keep out the American cannon fire. This looks like the barracks. You know, where the soldiers sleep.
I believe you are correct, but it looks rather like there hasn't been much sleeping going on. Not very comfortable if you ask me.
They're soldiers. They're used to being uncomfortable.
The basement. Looks like a lot of troops were stationed here. I wonder where they all went.
They probably got out while they could and moved on.
Sir, we're journalists from the Pennsylvania Gazette. Would you mind giving us your name?
Certainly. My name is James. My master's name is Armistead, so that's the name I go by. I have special permission by my master to help the American cause however I can.
Armistead? Weren't you a spy for Lord Cornwallis?
Perhaps you could say that I was. At least, he thought so.
What do you mean?
I was actually working for General Washington as a spy for him.
Oh.
A double agent! Fantastic!
I remember hearing about you, Mr. Armistead. You played a part in Cornwallis's decision to remain here in Yorktown, where he would eventually be trapped. Would you mind if we ask you a few questions?
First, I need a secret message I'm expecting from General Washington. I was supposed to pick it up in the American camp. And then I need to get Cornwallis some tea. He still thinks I'm working for him.
We'll find your message, and then maybe you can give us the tea to take to Cornwallis. He might let us
there we
interview.
go. I have your special top
We found
secret
the
message.
Thank you. It's some more false information I'm to give to Cornwallis. I'll put the teapot over there. You can take it to him when you're ready. What questions do you want to ask me?
Who was involved at the Battle of Yorktown?
Being a so-called double agent, I was free to meet those involved on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
His Excellency General Washington led the Americans. General Rochambeau led the French, and General Lord Cornwallis the British.
What happened during the Battle of Yorktown?
I didn't see everything, but I know that the Americans were able to dig trenches very close to the British and bring their cannons along.
When did the British decide to surrender?
It was a few days ago, if I remember correctly. Mid-October, I believe.
Where did the fighting take place?
On the coast of Virginia, near the mouth of the Chesapeake Bay.
Why do you think the British decided to surrender?
Well, I don't know exactly what happened at the end. Cornwallis believed he would receive reinforcements and munitions from New York, but they never arrived.
A teapot. Tea is a popular drink made from plant leaves brewed in hot water.
And to brew tea, you need a teapot.
Right.
The cellar. I think this is where they kept their food supplies.
Looks like they were running a little low. Maybe that's why they weren't fighting so well.
What's this?
This looks like a medical kit for giving someone a smallpox inoculation.
You're right. Smallpox is a deadly disease, and people are just beginning to understand that they can be inoculated against it.
Okay.
Well, it looks like the inside of this place didn't take too much of a beating.
No, but I'm sure it was rather shaken up.
This is the map they wanted.
A map of Yorktown and the surrounding area. Somebody's going to find this very useful. This place is called the bunker, a protected place underneath the house.
It certainly seems that it would be much safer down here.
Excuse me, sir, but are you Lord Cornwallis?
Of
Ah,
course
you
I
get the
am.
tea.
Who did you think I was? Benedict Arnold?
I remembered
No,
corn,
sir.
that was all I
My
remembered.
friend was just trying to be polite. It's not something he's had much practice at.
Hey!
We are reporters from the Pennsylvania Gazette.
And we happen to have
We
brought your
wanted to
tea.
get your perspective on the recent events.
Really? Well, I cannot be bothered about that until I take some tea. That dratted cannon fire broke the teapot my servant Armistead had been using. He's off looking for another one.
Maybe we can find one.
I was like, but it's not
If you
broken.
bring me some tea, I'll consent to tell you what led to this sorry state of affairs.
We
Tea.
found James Armistead. He made you this tea.
Oh, well done. That Armistead is really a very good servant. I'll miss having him around. And now for your questions. If
I
you
mean,
will print the truth,
you could
I will tell
pay
you my
him
opinion
to
of
work
this tragedy.
with you, for you, something. But,
Who was involved at the Battle of Yorktown?
It seemed like everyone was involved. I led the British Army against combined French and American forces headed by Rochambeau and Washington. The French Navy was also here.
I've got better ones.
What happened during the Battle of Yorktown?
It was disastrous. Absolutely disastrous.
My tracking's going to break here in a little, so at that point my mouth isn't going to be able to move anymore. I'm still going to keep playing until the end of this, though.
The noise was terrible. I couldn't even drink a cup of tea in peace. The Americans obtained siege guns that bombarded our encampment. They dug trenches to get closer to us much faster than we expected. Our retreat was cut off by the French fleet, so we had no choice left but to surrender.
That's a good one.
When did the British decide to surrender?
That fateful day will be forever etched in my mind. The morning of October 17th.
I'm so glad you didn't just say the day of October.
Right after my artillery commander informed me that we were almost out of ammunition.
That works, that works.
Where did the fighting take place?
We could not seem to mount an attack at all. The fighting took place in Yorktown, Virginia.
I think I've got better ones, but sure.
Why do you think the British decided to surrender?
Among other things, the heaviness of the American bombardment surprised us. I knew that our defenses would soon fall.
Yeah.
I was forced to surrender because the British Navy did not rescue us. We were trapped, we were out of ammunition, and the enemy was about to break through our fortifications.
I think I've still got better, but I'll take it. Okay. Map. Oh, I want this. That's kind of cool, you know? Nah.
If you would like to help, thank you. This will be very useful. Now, how can I help you?
Who was involved at the Battle of Yorktown?
A combined force of American and French soldiers fought against British and Hessian forces. General Rochambeau commanded the French forces on land. I led our Patriot forces with the aid of several experienced lieutenants. General Cornwallis led the British.
It's a little more specific in some areas.
What happened during the Battle of Yorktown?
With thanks to the French for their aid, we finally handed the British the defeat I'd been hoping for. We surrounded the British and closed in on them. Under cover of darkness, we dug trenches to protect our troops and mount the guns. From there, we fired directly into the town at the British troops.
Pretty good.
When did the British decide to surrender?
I will never forget that glorious day. It was the morning of October 17th. The morning after the providential storm that wrecked Cornwallis's plan to cross the York River to Gloucester, where there were fewer French troops.
Where did the fighting take place?
On the south bank of the York River, around the town of Yorktown, Virginia.
Why do you think the British decided to surrender?
A great many factors led to the surrender. Henry Clinton did not send reinforcements to Cornwallis in time. The British fleet was led by an inept admiral. Several timely storms wrecked the British plans. We had them surrounded, and they were out of munitions.
There's a Clinton. That goes pretty far back. I wonder if they really did. Is there anyone I haven't talked to? Talk to you. No one's here to talk to. Talked to no one here because no one exists here. Talked to you.
What I really need is money. I'll need it
Money.
to start a new life once this war is over. What few coins I had saved were stolen. Could you help me?
Stolen. Where? Okay. Money.
This old barn looks like a good place to find something interesting.
Doggy. He's so happy. Okay.
This is quite a find. A bag of gold coins.
Wagtail. Oh, hello, puppy. Okay. Oh, wait, that is him.
What I really need is money.
We found some coins.
My missing savings. I am truly in debt to you. Now, how can I help you with your story?
Who was involved at the Battle of Yorktown?
I never saw who we were fighting against, but I know who was on our side. I and many other Hessians fought alongside the British.
What happened during the Battle of Yorktown?
It was terrible. Terrible! We were running low on food and cannonballs. The promised help didn't arrive, and the enemy fire was too heavy. They were getting very close to us.
Already have better.
When did the British decide to surrender?
It wasn't soon enough. We were completely surrounded and had no chance of escape.
Where did the fighting take place?
Ah, the fighting? More shooting cannons than actual fighting, if you know what I mean. Apart from the cannon fire, most of the hand-to-hand fighting took place when the rebels captured 2 British redoubts or fortifications in Yorktown, Virginia.
Why do you think the British decided to surrender?
I'm not sure of our general's reasons. My comrades and I were tired of fighting.
Fair enough. Now we're good. This is a good one too. Yeah, I think I'm good. All right.
This is the notebook where you store the quotes that you save.
I think I'll use
Use
this
the
one.
tabs at the side of the notebook to look at the answers to your different questions, or to view your...
Fantastic! It looks like we've got quite a few Y quotes.
Well, I feel pretty good about the number of where quotes we have gathered. Let's see what else we need.
A good journalist gets multiple opinions on when it happened. We need to ask a few more people our when question so we can learn the whole story.
No, I think we're good.
All right. It looks like we have some what quotes now.
It looks like we have quite a few who quotes. Let's see what else we need.
I think we're good.
Welcome back. I'm anxious to get all the details.
We did it, Moses! The whole of Cornwallis's army surrendered at Yorktown.
And I have to admit, I'm convinced that this fight for liberty was worth the sacrifices.
With Cornwallis's surrender, I'm sure that the British are losing the stomach to fight. I'm sure that a serious move will be made to sign a peace treaty.
And the United States of America will be free and independent.
We owe it to our readers to get this news printed as soon as possible. Let's get to work over at the editing desk. Try to pick the best quotes from your notebook pages.
Okay.
So
According to American soldier, the constant advantage. It's not a bad one. I like that one because it says specifically each part. Ba, 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 ba. Wait, oops. That's probably actually more accurate. Where, Virginia, between the town of Yorktown and American Force. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That seems to have even more detail. It's also got some good ones though. Yeah, I don't know. There's some good ones in here. Mm-hmm.
Feedback appears below each of your quotes.
Hmm. There we go. Can I do better than that? No. Okay. Okay, fine. Yeah, this is good.
Good work. If you think you have finished,
Yes.
This is the layout area, where you can make your newspaper front page look just the way you want before you print it out. Choose a sketch for your front page and type in a headline. Publish the paper once you are finished.
Um. Mm, Hmm. I don't know. Nah. Anyone still watching? Have any ideas? Hmm. Yep. Oh, I'm trying to think of the little title thing for the fake newspaper. It's the last thing I need to do, I believe. Hmm. Hmm. Titles. Hmm. Um, hmm. I don't know. I guess it's good enough. Hmm. For one, can't fit that many letters in. Two, uh, it's not necessarily. I'm betting at least some of them decided they were going to stay. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Hmm. Hmm. Okay, good enough. Let's go see how the end is. And not a minute too soon because my tracking is going away.
Congratulations, James and Sarah. An excellent story. And I have a surprise for you. Guess who has returned from Europe to celebrate the official end of the Revolutionary War with us, now that he's finished helping to get the peace treaty signed with Great Britain?
Ben! Ben Franklin! I can't believe it!
What a wonderful surprise! We've missed you terribly.
I have been away far too long, but reading your excellent accounts has hastened the passage of time.
It has been an honor for us to be apprentice reporters here, Ben. Moses has passed on all your wisdom.
Apprentice reporters? Moses, haven't you told them the news?
I wanted you to tell them.
Tell us what, Ben?
Well,
For
clearly
your
it's
great
because of
service
that.
in keeping the flame of the revolution burning brightly over these
That
many
means either you're
years,
fired
Congress has
or
agreed
you're
with
promoted.
me that you deserve a very special recognition of your endeavors.
Not only are you now full-fledged reporters,
but based on the number of papers your stories have sold, you are to receive a special award for excellence in journalism.
I don't know what to say.
I do. Yahoo!
This award represents our young nation's gratitude for your hard work in maintaining the spirit of freedom through your stories. A spirit that I am convinced will live on as the United
Now I'm wondering what would
States of
happen if I
America
actually just did
shines forth
terrible
the
on all
light
of it.
of liberty.
congratulations! You've done a great job covering
Nice.
important events of the American Revolution. You may print out any of your newspapers by selecting them. Select Start Over if you want to play again. You'll need to pay close attention, though, because things may be a little different the next time around.
Oh? Interesting. It's also 2:30 in the morning. Is it so interesting even at 2:30 in the morning? No. Like, I'll ask everyone if you guys want me to try and see what's different in the second playthrough, and if you guys want to see me screw it up on purpose and see what happens. I don't know. But I do know that that this concludes the 4th of July stream. Hold on. Na na na. Mm-hmm. This one. And then here. And for some reason it's not here still. Everything broke. There we go. Fourth of July doesn't happen all the time. I just want to move the flag. There. Hehe. That's good, yes? No. Excuse me, just being a little obsessed here. There, good enough. Don't care. It's fine. Why am I down here? That's better. All right, well, I hope that you had a nice time. It's now the 5th of July. I'll still I'm still gonna say one last happy 4th of July. I hope you had a really good one. Thank you for joining me. I hope you had a nice time with the cartoons and the education and the being completely lost in a kid's game with me. Although you probably were like, no, go that way. Yeah. But anyway, thank you for your support. If you haven't already, please follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. Is there anything else? I'm on Twitter, YouTube, Kick. I have a Discord if anyone wants to go join my little server. And I'm on Reality every night. But I can't stream games on there or anything. I just talk with people, so if you want to come talk and hang out. But yeah, Jinky Hearts. I'm gonna go ahead and hop off and go to sleep. And then I won't be able to do all this pretty stuff. My lights aren't on. Well, it's better than nothing. It's still pretty and I still like it. And yeah, so enjoy it for a little bit. I'm gonna run the music and then we're gonna go bye-bye. Okay. Night-night, have a good day.